This is a story about a crime that honestly, it just captivated a nation. But we're going to go deeper than that because this is more than just a shocking murder. It's really an explainer on how the American dream, wealth, family, ambition, how all of that can just curdle into a complete and utter tragedy. It's a question you see in movies, you read about in books. But in this story, the answer is way more chilling than any fiction you could ever imagine. We're about to unpack a story where that dream didn't just die, it became an absolute nightmare.
And the setting? I mean, it's a character all on its own. Beverly Hills. The year is 1989. Just picture it, the glamour, the power, the feeling of limitless wealth. It's the absolute last place you would ever expect to find a scene of just unimaginable horror.
And that, of course, brings us to the crime itself. What investigators walked into that night, well, it wasn't just a home. It felt more like the set of a Hollywood horror movie. Okay, so let's just lay out the basic facts here. The victims were Jose Menendez, a hugely powerful and wealthy entertainment executive, and his wife, Kitty. And they were found just brutally murdered. Not on the street, not in some back alley, but in the sanctuary of their own Beverly Hills mansion. The violence of it was just staggering.
So, at first, the investigation looked at all the usual theories for a man like Jose. Was it a mob hit? Maybe a business deal that went sour? But the real truth, well, it was so much more disturbing, and it came from right inside the house.
In a twist that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming, the prime suspects turned out to be the victims' own sons, Lyle and Erik Menendez, the very same people who had called 911 to report the crime.
Okay, so this just blows the case wide open. The question on everyone's mind was, why? I mean, why would two sons, who seem to have absolutely everything handed to them, commit an act this heinous? Well, for the prosecution, the answer was simple. You just had to follow the money.
And it all came down to this one single powerful word: inheritance. The motive, they argued, was a burning desire to unlock a massive family fortune and to do it right now. And after these absolutely sensational trials that, everybody was glued to their TVs for, the court finally reached its verdict. The brothers were convicted. And the reason? Murdering their parents for their inheritance. That officially became the motive. What's really interesting is that this specific kind of crime, killing your own parents, it actually has a name. And the Menendez case was about to become its most infamous example ever. The term is parricide. It literally means the killing of a parent. And it's a crime that feels so completely against the natural order of things that it has this unique kind of horror to it. It's exactly why this case is still studied today. Think about it. Before 1989, how many people really use the word parricide in everyday conversation? Probably not many, right? But after the Menendez trials, it was everywhere. They literally became the face of this ultimate form of family betrayal. But here's where the analysis gets really, really interesting. To truly understand this case, we have to look deeper at the type of wealth we're talking about. Because as it turns out, not all rich families are the same. And this is a really key distinction. The Menendez family, they weren't some old money dynasty. This wasn't a fortune that had been passed down through generations. No, Jose Menendez was a self-made man, a Cuban immigrant who had clawed his way to incredible success. And that brings us to the core analysis from our source. The case is framed as a perfect example of something called sudden wealth violence. The theory goes that there's a special kind of instability that can come with these new first-generation fortunes. The pressures, the expectations, the immediate access to massive amounts of money, it can create this incredibly volatile environment that's just totally different from established, old money families. So ultimately, the Menendez family, with their incredible rise and just unbelievably tragic fall, they became the textbook case for this exact phenomenon. A situation where the rush to get a fortune and the desire to control it led to the most violent act imaginable. And so we're left with this final, kind of haunting thought. The whole case was about getting a monetary inheritance, right? But it really makes you wonder about all the other things we inherit from our families. The pressures, the dynamics, the secrets. And it poses this final unsettling question. Is family itself the one inheritance you can never, ever escape?